Oh, so welcome everybody to our conjunction videos. And today we're going to be covering Venus Rahu in the fifth house on this festive season of Christmas. So, Venus Rahu in the fifth house, right? And if you don't know if you have this particular conjunction, what sign and nakshatra they're placed in, along with all your astrology details, go to astrology.com where you'll find my books, reports, consultations, and link to my academy, Magha Vedic Astrology Academy, under shop section, where especially you'll find my wristwatch course and now my wristwatch reading. This way you get to find out the right wristwatch for you. Okay. So, what is Venus? Venus is wife, marriage, okay, unionship, agreements, contracts, money, wealth, luxury, comfort. Okay. Venus naturally represents women in your life. And then Rahu is there, which is naturally something, an energy which is very unorthodox. Something which is very ambitious. Something is also, Rahu's energy is all about saving things, especially natural things. Wanting to save nature, conserve nature. Rahu also represents anything which is artificial, as in artificial intelligence, AI, softwares. Okay, Rahu is anything which is real but it's not real, like for example photography, which I'm a big fan of now because thanks to AI, not because I use AI. I'm actually going to make a video on this soon, how this change came about. Specifically, I remember I said this in my Rahu transit last year, that is going to show us the crux of this AI revolution. What does it mean? Okay. So now when they're in the fifth house, first thing it naturally shows me is that, especially from birth of your children, okay, and marriage, your wealth settles. Wealth settles. We can't really say it's going to be multi-millions or billions or what amount, but your wealth definitely increases. And especially the thing is, the person's spouse is either going to have a strong connection with foreign lands, foreign places, will be of a different culture and ethnic background. And the thing is, you have to understand, if Rahu has already gone past the degree of Venus, okay, spouse may not be of this different culture or ethnic background, but spouse would have the inclination to want to get away from their surroundings, their normalities that they have grown up with. Like somebody with this type of a movement of Rahu will grow up in a very normal state, but they'll be like, I want to break free from this because my essence is not that. But this is especially the wife in a man's chart. Rahu, Venus in the fifth house brings tremendous amount of creativity in a person, imagination in a person, where a person can use that either in technology, arts itself, mechanical work, technical work, analyzing work. Okay. Also with Venus Rahu in the fifth house, you will see such people actually become quite lucky. And I'm not saying they have the talent, they're lucky in terms of speculation. They get quite lucky with speculative gains. The other thing with Venus and Rahu, most likely this person will ultimately, and I'm not talking about you living in a hostel and or dorm room and apartment right now with your odd jobs. Ultimately, you'll have a two-story home or multi-story home. Such a person will also live in a, if you ever live in a high rise, you will naturally be given an apartment or condo which is on the top first half of the building. So if a building has, let's say, 10 floors, you'll be in 5 or above. And the thing is, when this person, like especially you will see if Rahu is in front of Venus, and I'm saying here Venus is not retrograde, because that combination will be weak. But if Rahu is approaching Venus, you will see the moment this person purchases a property, not land, a property, this is becomes the activation of wealth and money in a person's life. Now, one thing you will also see, the spouse will have a very strong ego and nature. Like, they would not like to be subservient with this particular Venus. Okay? Sure, one will get the money, one will get the prestige, one will be quite in kingly place at one point in their life. But when it comes to the spouse, that's one part you cannot change and mold and, make them do things that you want them to do. The other thing with Rahu Venus, you can't change them, but the thing is, if this is your chart, always, if women, okay, especially a foreign woman, will always be able to change your mind and influence your intelligence. Now, this does not have anything to do with marriage, relationship, romance. Okay, let's say, for example, somebody in India watches Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, or somebody in US is reading a book on Indira Gandhi. Their intelligence suddenly gets affected by what they read and what they observe about this person. So it doesn't have to be yours. Yes, spouse, especially in a man's chart, spouse will always infuse the intelligence. They control. If something you liked so much, they can convince you to not like that. But see, Rahu in the 5th, this person has their own independent intelligence. You can't control them. You can't make them think that, hey, this is what you should do and you'll be good at it. They'll be like, okay, great, thanks. Okay, I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. Unless they decide internally what their circumstances, only then that intelligence will be given. Also, Venus Rahu in the 5th is a brilliant placement. If other combinations are present, this person can be an expert in tantric mantras. And again, the word tantric mantra should not have a negative connotation. Okay, that's only what we have grown up with. I mean, the Tantra is just water. Tantra is like water. You put poison in the water, it becomes poisonous. You put sugar in the water, it becomes sweet. You put honey in the water, it'll become sweet and healthy. So, Tantra is like Tantra and Shiva and Kali. They're like pure water. They're purity. See, when something is pure, it cannot be either on this side or that side. It exists. So this is what you have to understand, because, and also with Venus Rahu together, if let's say this person has combinations of a scientist, let's say even Jupiter is involved in this particular conjunction, usually they will go for environmental science. They will like to somehow conserve nature, save nature, deal with something natural and protect it. Usually Venus Rahu in the 5th, spouse will be very protective of their children unless Venus is becoming your ascendant. Okay. Also with Venus Rahu in the 5th, it does show that the children of this individual will demand a lot in their life. Not only from the parents, siblings, but their own counterpart. And that can be troublesome. Because, like I said, with Venus Rahu, great wealth comes in a person's life. And so when children are growing up in such a comfortable environment, for them to go out and experience the real world, it can become quite tough. And you got to understand, I'm only looking at Venus Rahu. If you have a 3 or 4 planetary conjunction or trine, that will definitely alter this. You have a retrograde Venus, that will definitely alter this 100%. Okay, we're simply looking at Venus Rahu in general as itself. And especially with Venus Rahu, spouse loves. Look at the Mool Trikon sign where Libra is placed. That individual, including if in a man's chart, the wife, and in a woman's chart, themselves, loves highest quality things. Doesn't have to be name brand, doesn't have to be super expensive, but it has to be the finest quality. And usually there is a notion attached that if it's fine quality, it is going to be expensive. Unless you get really lucky, you're visiting some country which is not really known for their wealth, but the hand craftsmanship of something, it is so brilliant that if it was to be sold in US or something, it'll be thousands of dollars. So yeah, those things will happen, but they love it. Children needs, especially if you give birth to a girl, money definitely comes in, and the money comes in because now you have to provide the luxury for that girl. So yeah, with Venus Rahu in the 5th, if a girl is born, wealth, and especially wealth will be connected somehow with foreign lands, multinational companies, foreign customers. Wealth will not come in locally. Now, if you say, well, I'm in India and I'm born here doing this, doing that, that's your Saturn. Remember, there's a difference between your karma that you're performing and how the money's coming in. And only a few lucky ones are able to get both of them together. So now money and karma becomes the same. This is why if you see I have a Venus wealth reading on my site, and then there's a career consultation. Because somebody could be doing their technical work as a machinist, a mechanic. Wealth is coming through selling home decor. Wealth is coming through having a gas station. That's where the wealth is. And of course, moon itself represents the cash, the physical cash. Okay, that's another thing. But Venus is money. That's what you got to understand. Especially with Venus Rahu in the 5th house, such a person, if they were to be involved in anything connected with children, let's say making apps for children, they'll make money. There you go. If you're in IT and you have this particular placement, but you don't have a combination for business, because you have to have combinations for business. If you don't have combinations for business, you work in a company that deals with apps related to children, games, learning, any of that, you will excel in those particular fields. Okay. So anyway, guys, this was my analysis of Venus Rahu in the 5th house. Again, if you're new to my channel, subscribe below so you don't miss these type of videos. And we want to know where all your astrological placements are, all my consultations, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.